we're going to talk about a gentleman by the name of Jaskirat Singh Sidhu, who through an accident ended up ramming his truck into a school bus, which killed a number of students. He has been jailed for quite some time, and now the latest information and news that's coming in is that he has been ordered to go back to India. He's lost his appeal to stay back in Canada, and he is being deported. In fact, the Canadian government, the Canadian courts have shown no mercy to him. Mr. Jaskirat Singh Sidhu has made a number of apologies. In fact, he looks remorseful. He understands that this was his fault. He had settled down in Canada. He did not want to get into this. This is not an intentional crime, folks. This was not something deliberate that he did. And yet, the example that has been made out of him is that he's being deported back to India despite this particular mistake. And it's a mistake. It's nothing more than that. It can happen to anyone. It's an accident. And there is a reason why accidents are called accidents. But you know what is not an accident? What's not an accident is when people like Gurpatwan Pannun threaten to blow up bombs in India. It's not an accident. It's a deliberate attempt and strategy to disturb the peace and quiet of our country when people like Pannu get away scot-free and leaders like Justin Trudeau continue to do nothing about it. And that's exactly what we're going to discuss today with some of our panelists. Ambassador Bhaspati Mukherjee, former diplomat, is joining me on the program. Mr. Sumit Peer, senior political commentator, is also with us on the broadcast. Last but not the least, Pathikrit Pine, international affairs expert, also with us on the show. Well, Ambassador Mukherjee, you know, my opening monologue in essence had the question buried in it as well. You know, there are obviously, balances between crime and punishment. You know, if you did the crime, you do the time, like the saying goes. But this man has done his time. He's committed a crime. Of course, it was not deliberate manslaughter. It was accidental. And yet he's being deported. You know, it worries me as an Indian that this has something to do with the vendetta and the ill will that the Canadian government has been harboring against our country for quite some time now. And it's coming out through these innocent and innocuous citizens.
But definitely, Vineet, I was reading up on how this accident took place, and apparently he disregarded a traffic light, and that's how it happened. He has expressed remorse and he's done time. There does not seem to be any ostensible reason to deport him to India, because India has not asked for his deportation. And nor is he required here for heinous crimes that have been committed by certain individuals of Indian origin, who have found safe refuge in Canada and who the Canadian government refuses to deport for whatever reason, citing freedom of speech, etc. So this appears to be a complete distortion of justice, a demonstration of double standards, and a demonstration of the hostility that the government of Justin Trudeau has towards India. In this particular case, I understand that some of the victims, their families have forgiven him for the unintentional killings, and since he has spent several years in Canada and has his family in Canada, it would appear to be a gross miscarriage of Canadian justice to deport him to India against his wishes in this manner, particularly when India has not asked for his deportation. So yes, I agree with you, Vineet, that it shows total double standards. The Canadian government would be well advised to instead look at the many deportation appeals made time and again to the Canadian government and their absolute refusal to deport these individuals who are wanted here for grave acts of terrorism, murder, etc., and for which India's appeals have been totally disregarded. Vineet.
Sumit Peer, what do you think is going on over here? Do you think that the feud between the countries is being taken out on the poor citizens of Canada? You know, Pannu is sitting in Canada in the United States. He's issuing threats of blowing up airlines. He's issuing threats towards the Prime Minister. He's issuing threats towards our diplomats who are stationed in countries like Canada and the US. Nothing is done. You know, yet this gentleman, you know, who deserves forgiveness because what he did was an accident, you know. It could be you or me tomorrow, you know. Accidents are accidents, you know. It was not deliberate. And he's being sent back to India. There obviously seems to be an interwoven message here, Sumit, that we are getting it. It's a very palpable message. It's a very tangible message that Canada is trying to send.
Vineet, thanks for having me on your show. What you are saying is absolutely right. It is a very selective act of racial discrimination. Here it is a selective because you are targeting a Sardarji, you are targeting an Indian, and it's racial discrimination. The first question I want to ask, if there is any other, if such a Canadian national does such an extent, which is an extent, where will you deport him to? If an American does such an extent, do you have a provision in the law of Canada that you will deport him to America? Have you done it before? The answer is no. So why this poor chap? Because he's a Sardarji and he's an Indian, you have to send him back to India. No, logically he is a PR holder. As per the rule of the law should be applicable for all. Because he's from Indian origin, because he's a Sardar, you are trying to discriminate him. Why it is politically motivated, I tell you. Now here in the discussion, the gentleman, Mr. Sandhu is a threat to Canadian citizens, so he has to be deported to his own country, and all his time in jail, all the remorse, all the apologies, they do not matter. Is a big threat. But we had another gentleman. His name was Nijar. He was holding a AK-47 in his hand. He is an asset to the Canadian people. He is a security. He is the person who is ensuring security of the Canada. So you can see this. Now you have another gentleman called Gurpatwan Singh Pannun, who is issuing threats to the sovereign governments, to the elected prime ministers of the world's largest democracy, yet he's an asset of China. By the way, all the three are Sardars. All the three are Sardars. You see, but how political cherry picking is happening here. How politically convenient people are giving shelter and how politically inconvenient people are let go Canada. For example, you have a person called Goldie Barar there. He's wanted in so many crimes. Have you deported him? You have so many of those gangsters who are wanted in so many crimes. They are operating out of Canada. Have you deported them? Have you done anything against them? No. Why? What is the reason of not deporting a Goldie Barar and what is the reason of deporting a Sandhu? That is the question, because this is the way you get back to India. You are trying to show these Indians are not contributors, they are dangerous, they are not trained, whatever happened, it was the extent is the extent. Anybody can jump a red line, anything can happen. When it is proven in a court of law, it is the extent. What is this happening? Now you are trying to settle scores. So either there should be a law like this, if there's an immigrant who has done this, he will be deported back, then I have no problem. Why only for this particular Mr. Sandhu, and why only for an Indian citizen? Why only for, because India has shown you your awqat and you are very rattled with it. You don't know how to handle India. So what you're trying to do, you're trying to get hold of a poor Indian origin person and try to settle scores. This is exactly when China tells you we are the most honest country in the whole world, then what happens? You get hold of two poor chaps and put them on a death penalty, and you say, look, in China, corruption is punishable by death, but you make two sample cases of the people who are your political victims. So this is what is happening. This is politicization of the problem. This is politicization of the issue. Where is this Jagmeet Singh? He is the messiah of Sikhs and Sikh faith and all. Where are these Khalistanis? They are talking of Khalistan. Their Jagmeet Singh is talking of Sikh rights and all. Is Mr. Sindhu not a Sikh? Why Jagmeet Singh and all are not talking about it? Incidentally, I want to ask one more question. Why it is your and my responsibility to talk about it? Why the Sikh leaders from Punjab are not talking about it? I expected a statement from Mr. Maan, the Honorable Chief Minister of Punjab. He should have given a statement on this. Bhai, ye kya ho raha hai? Why Akalis are not talking about it? Why Badals are not talking about it? Why the tall Sikh leaders of the country are not talking about it? Because this is injustice done to a person because he's a Sikh and he's of Indian origin. That is the only reason. If you go by the rule of law, if you go by the law, but there's nothing he has done wrong. Whatever he has done, he has been penalized for it, and law lets him live in Canada. Why this selective politically motivated discrimination is happening? That is the question. If he's a threat to the Canada, is a Niger asset, Goldie Barar asset, Pannu asset? These are the questions which Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau put in a room on a national broadcast to answer us. And if they have the courage, they should give you an interview, which I know they will never give. So these are the questions which we are putting in the open forum, and they have no answers. It is utter hypocrisy. You are trying to settle your scores with India and using these poor chaps as your pawns in the game of your chess. That is what is happening. It is so deplorable, and they were talking for G7 country, westernized civilization, advancing countries. And I will end my this part of the talk by saying, now people who still want to go to immigrate to Canada, people who still want to settle in Canada, people who still want to put their money, a lot of hard-earned dollars, and want to go to India. भाई मैं तो हमेशा से कहता हूँ सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा. I mean, you like it or not, that is the reality. At least nobody will discriminate you from being a Sikh here or being a Hindu here or being an Indian here. मतलब क्या करना है यार ऐसा? What is so great in there? This is the question what Indians should contemplate. This should be the tipping point where the thought process should be let go loose. Do we need to go to a country like Canada, or we are happy and blossoming here? That is the bigger question, Vinny.
Pathikrit, what do you make of this twisted situation? Obviously, there are different rules for different people in Canada, and that's what's come up is the biggest example.
Vineet, I think both Ambassador Mukherjee and Sumit Bhai have very beautifully explained it, but let me add a couple of points. Number one, I think somewhere it is also a kind of blessing in disguise, because it's a lesson for all those people who still dream that they would sell off all their ancestral properties, they will mortgage whatever remaining they have, and then they will take that money for that so-called dream life that they would have in Canada. Probably, this is a lesson for them to show, to understand how they are used as dispensable pawns and dispensable commodities. Because till the time you serve their purpose, you will be kept there. The moment it goes against them, you will be simply thrown away. You will not be considered part of them. So you sold off everything in your own motherland to go there. Imagine this person. I don't think he's highly qualified. I'm sure, like many others who were shown this dream, he must have also sold off a significant proportion or perhaps a lot of his ancestral properties, paid a huge amount of money to the agents to go to Canada. And when he comes back, imagine what he's going to do. What will happen to him? Yes, he's coming back to his own country. India would forever remain his, and I'm sure he would always find a way to start his life all over again. But I hope when he comes back, he tells to the rest of the generations that this is what is done to you. So be careful. The other thing is that here is a country which is willing to punish a truck driver, a truck driver who didn't have any malice in mind. There was an accident. They want to punish a truck driver and show to the world that, look, we are so much for justice, but they would remain mute spectator and turn the other way around when they are asked, what about punishing those who bombed the Kanishka? So then they will say, oh, that is something, it's a very complex issue. Let's, that. Today we'll talk about Trudeau. If Sumit Bhai asks this question, Trudeau will tell you that you are racist, you are Islamophobic, you are this and you are that, you are misogynistic, you are patriarchal. He will have a series of things to tell. So that's how it works. Let me tell you, I think we should come out of this illusion that G7 is an epitome of morality, wisdom, all of that. It's not. It's a selfish club of certain countries, shelf life, and who want to hold on to their positions, and for which they keep on selling certain sermons on the presumption that the third world country will still believe that what they do is the best and they can never be wrong. So, if you ask me, well, I would expect the world to respect the laws in my country. Similarly, yes, Canadian court decided it. It's their law. It's their choice. If you ask me, this person is not a criminal. What happened was an accident, and that's why there's a difference between a crime and an accident. But if this is how you treat, you wouldn't have treated a Frenchman or a British or an American the way you're treating an Indian. And if it is so that you are doing this, then it should be a lesson back home in Punjab. And I hope people in Punjab learn the lesson rather than, the other way around, that this person is coming back and another 1,000 are standing in the queue to sell off their properties to go to Canada. So in any case, it's as Sumit Bhai mentioned, it's a tipping point. Whether lessons are learned or not, that's an issue. But yes, complexities of the relation remains profound. They will not punish, they will not do anything to the real perpetrators, because we must understand those are their assets. This person is a dispensable commodity, so he was dispensed with, and that is the true reality of the first world. We accept it, we find our way out. That is the best way forward. If we expect that they will reform someday, that's not going to happen.
That's a good statement that you've made, Ambassador Mukherjee. Pathikrit is obviously hit the nail on the head. He said that, Pannu is an asset. They won't touch him. But people like, these are definitely dispensable, and they are being dispensed with.
There are many who say, Vineet, that Pannu is actually a Western intelligence agent. There are many who speculate as to why he's being given this kind of protection by major Western governments. But nevertheless, we also need to create opportunities. We need to tell the state government in Punjab to create job opportunities in Punjab for their young people so that they do not sell off their ancestral property and migrate in this manner as if there is nothing left for them in their homeland. Considering that Punjab is such an important part of India, has played such an important role in the freedom struggle, is vital to India's peace and security, the role of Punjab in our armed forces, etc. It seems to me to be such a shame when I see states, other states in India, whose GDP is lagging behind Punjab, but they are not selling their ancestral property and running to Canada in this manner. We certainly need to empower the youth in Punjab so that they do not do what they are doing and run to Canada as if it's their only destination in the world where they can be safe and secure. That's a problem that Indians need to address. That is not a problem that Canadians should address. We have to address the problem differently, which is we have to do what External Affairs Minister Jaishankar said today, which is to tell the Canadians, you have a problem with us, be upfront, you're accusing us, give us the evidence, do not have double standards, do not use our citizens like pawns for your domestic politics. If you wish to have immigrants from India who are contributing to your development, to your universities, etc., then kindly also respect the governments of the countries where they come from. And if they are indulging in acts of terrorism or heinous acts of murder, etc., you need to respect the laws of India and send them back. And for others, kindly treat them with the same human rights and liberties that you reserve for your own citizens, particularly the white citizens of Canada. This is the message we have to give. And we certainly need to internally do something so that this very, very troubling picture, as Pathikrit said, of young people selling their ancestral property in Punjab and going to Canada as if India, their motherland, has nothing to offer them. This is something we all as a nation need to address. It's a very distressing thought. We need to address it because Punjab is also a very important frontline state like Bengal, and we can't afford to have such an internal situation in Punjab. Beneath.
Sumit, well, it's all speculation at this point in time, but do you think that the Canadian government is going to have a reaction if India puts out any kind of a statement on what's happened here?
You see, Vineet, this is a very thoughtful, well thought on messaging system. They know exactly what they are doing. They know this man has nothing to do. They're just trying to settle score using this man. The problem is that as long as this Canadian dream, what Pratikit and Madam rightly said, lives and survives, we'll have more and more people for them. यार मुझे एक चीज समझ नहीं आती. We are supplying 40% of the total world's food grain goes from India. 40% of the total world's food grain we are supplying to the world, right? It goes from India. क्या हमारे घर में रोटी नहीं है? So what is that fancy, what is that big dream we are trying to chase there? Why are we going there? Because we are going there, we are available there, they are playing the games. Today, look, people like Israel and all are requesting us, we need some skilled and unskilled people from your side. Let the people request us. Taiwan is going to request us and Taiwan has already requested us. So let people request and then we go, rather not कि भाई हमें रख दो कुछ भी काम दे दो. This thing has to go. I expect this problem is a problem within the society. Canadians are playing the game because they know they have the advantage right now, they have the upper hand. Why the Honorable Chief Minister of Punjab is not speaking? Why Mr. Badal is not speaking? Why the tall Sikh leaders of the country are not speaking? Why they are not speaking? Why don't they guide the youth? Why don't they tell them, youth, भाई पंजाब में बहुत काम है यार, बहुत रोटी मिलती है हमारे गांव में, कोई जरूरत नहीं है जाने की. You see, when COVID happened, there were lakhs of UP laborers who were in Maharashtra and they were asked to leave Maharashtra due to unfortunate situations which happened there. Now, Yogi ji said that next time we will not have people from UP going to Maharashtra, and it happened. People from UP have not gone to Maharashtra this time. They've got enough jobs in UP. Why don't we create those jobs? Why don't we have those campaigns? And why don't we kind of tell them, look, the time has come for the people to come to India and work. The time is not for Indians to go out and work. The times are changing. We have 7 million expats working in India today. And with some time, how many are your NRIs? Your NRIs around 35, around maybe around it. I think around 4.5 million. Yeah, 4.5 million or maybe 10 million in all. 7 million are all here. So the things are changing. Everything is changing. Let's stop selling or telling people about this great American dream, great Canadian dream, when you have growth, the fastest growing economy of the world, when you are the hope of the world, when your demographic dividend is going to last for 70 years, when you have anything to everything that makes life work. Your medicine is dirt cheap here. Your cost of living is cheap. Your internet, mobile, everything is cheap. Your all relatives, your friends here. I don't know what is the big dream you are chasing there, Vineet. 50 साल पहले बात और थी. But today, I cannot even fathom this thought. Why do people need to go there? What is there? I mean, why do you want to serve a Gora and be a subservient to a Gora? I'm not being racial here, but this is the reality of life. Why do we need to be subservient to any Gora? Yaar? Kyun? You are going to
All right, we've run out of time. I'm going to take a quick closing comment from Pathakrit as well. Pathakrit, 30 seconds and no more, and then we wrap up.
We need Punjab's politics destroyed Punjab's economy, and for that Canada is not responsible. Today, both Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh has come out of the Bimaru tag. It is sad to see the most entrepreneurial community, which is the Punjabis, where they have been reduced to. So I think just like the Mudra Yojana, if you have a policy in India where those who want to come back from Canada will be given a scheme to start their business all over again, I think many will be willing to come back because they're desperate to come, but they have nothing to hold on to back in India. So I think we need to have a scheme in policy in place where we tell them that, look, India is your country. If you want to come back, we will hold you back. We will embrace you with both the hands and will help you to become the entrepreneur that your community has always been very famous for.
All right.
Vineet, I think we need the policy.
Absolutely. Good points there. If there is no respect and dignity that is being honored in a country like Canada, then of course, no point going there, right? And of course, Sumit has already enunciated the other reasons why a number of people go to these countries.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.